Hi, Lauren. How you doing? I've got your files up. Let's see. Let's start with your gatefold. This is a blast. I love it. Can't wait to see it, man. This is a wonderful mock-up. Really good. Good job. Good craft. I want to tell you something. Stuff like this really goes over well in portfolios because we portfolio reviewers and professional hiring professionals love to see concept and love to see an idea start from a concept and work its way through sketches and paper to a final to fruition, as it were. So just keep that in mind. You know, the more you can show the behind the scenes work, as it were, under the hood, you know, with sketching and the planning and concepting and more sketching, that stuff, save all of it because portfolio reviewers love it. This is great. Good job. Let's go to the magazine. Okay. All right. I'm going to zoom in here because we got some issues. Okay. The grid, I saw you set up the grid. That's good. I also noticed that your but God doesn't fit the grid. I'm more concerned about the let's call it, what do they call that? Micro typography. All right. So here's what you got. You've got the type itself is set okay. I think it's a little small. I think it's light and airy though, so it's an easy read. I've got two spaces after this period, another two spaces after this period. That's a mistake. That's something you've got to stop doing now. We don't do that in design. That's something that we learned in office programs or as an office application, but not in type. Okay, so you've also got a couple of problems. This is all one run-on paragraph. I mean, there's no demarcating any new paragraphs at all. So it's really a daunting task to look at this and go, I have to read all that. That's why we break text apart with things like call outs and paragraphs and space between paragraphs, etc., etc. Another thing I want to call to your attention is your typeset. This is justified type, and it's not working. And I'm going to tell you why it's not working. It's because you've got some settings. I want you to research on your own. If you have trouble, let me know and I can give you some settings. But you have to set your justified type. Default never works. Look at these huge spaces right in between these words here. And then look at something like, oh, look how loose these lines are here. And then how tight these lines are here. So that all has to be adjusted. Okay. I think that you also want to start up some kind of hierarchy. A drop cap is a wonderful way to start out a new story, a paragraph, just, you know, 2 or 3, 4, maybe even 5 lines deep. And it's a wonderful technique. I think generally the layout itself, and let's go back to full page, there's not a lot of contrast. As a spread, you have to understand, okay, I'm going to draw a triangle. Let's see this triangle right here. The most important parts of the page are up and out, which means we got to use these areas here. We can use them for images. We can use them for a lot of different things to help assist in the layout of the page structure. As it were, right now you have this. It's an unusual setup, and it's great that you're designing the whole page as one. That's wonderful, but as we look at the typographic color, this background is really hindering the type. It just is making the whole thing too dark. And I don't mean dark in posture. I mean dark in, it's dark. It's just too, it's really dark. This background is reducing the contrast of the type. Okay? I'd like to see you redo this. I really would, based on the comments that I made specifically regarding this. And then try to fit your, and then you can use a different headline, a different typeface for this. I mean, you can use anything you want for this. Remember, we don't have to stick. You're allowed to break that requirements for your headline. So think about that. And I'd like to see you do something really interesting with this but God. I think there's got enormous potential. But let's see if we can tap into it. Okay? So, all right. If you have any questions, please give me a holler.